you know what, I've been in this field for many years now. I've seen like many projects, work with complex interfaces. So I'm sure at least if I target people who are starting out or juniors, I can still help them with their journey, because I was there and I've made mistakes in the past from which I learned a lot, so I can help them avoid them. And so I decided to ignore my imposter syndrome and just start.
Welcome everyone to the Top Mentor podcast. We are running a new episode today with our guest Maria Stella. So hi Maria, you are the second Italian in a row that I have. So you are very supportive to the podcast. Let the audience know who are you and what you do and why you're here.
Yes, so I am a UX designer with 6 years experience now. I work in a data company here in Italy that is based in Milan, though I am close to the mountains in Trento, which is like the center of Italy. And on the side, I am also a mentor on Mentor Cruise platform since 2022, and I really enjoy helping out people who want to get started in UX with their work. And yeah, that's it, I guess.
Okay, no, that's very very interesting. So, what about your career, like your whole journey? How it's been like until you get to your current point, and also like up to you started mentoring.
Mm-hmm. So I would say it's been like looking back, it feels a bit like a weird path in the sense that it wasn't linear. I studied psychology first, and at some point I thought I would become either a therapist or a researcher. But then I discovered that there was this new master course launching in my university. It's called Human Computer Interaction, which was both under psychology and computer science. And since I had always loved video games and in general using my computer a lot as a millennial, I immediately applied, and I enjoyed it right from the start, learned about UX, and decided that I would try with that career. And I'm happy I'm still enjoying it also now. And during my studies, I would sometimes tutor students, and since I was in the second cohort of this master, because it's relatively new, I would often get messages on Facebook from prospective students wanting to know more about UX, the master, and everything. And so at some point a couple of years ago, when I wanted to try and start a side hustle to save a little extra money, I found Mentor Cruise, and I thought of trying with mentoring juniors and students, and I really enjoyed it. And so yeah, now it's it has grown a lot, and I'm happy about it.
No, that's an interesting story, like transitioning, because I have a few friends on the psychology side, and there has been like a boom on the therapist side, especially in Spain. I guess after COVID, mental health issues started to boom, and also the social aspect of it is not that hidden anymore. But it's interesting that because some people move towards human resources, some people still being therapists, and some other people are like in other topics that like the one that you meant, the UX part, which is like understanding people and how they want to behave in the product side. So it's very interesting how from the psychology part people move around. So yeah, on the mentoring side, how did you start it? Because I think it's very interesting how people start. I think it's the most funny part, the funniest part, because you are, at least for me, you are struggling a bit about, okay, I've teach people that know less than me, some beginners, some people at work. But it's different that you have someone that's is paying to you, and it's waiting some deliverables, let's say some value. How did you approach those times, and how do you remember those times?
Right. So yeah, I will guess my train of thought was actually I still also sometimes have imposter syndrome about this, because
Yeah,
again,
everyone has.
they're paying you. What if I give a bad advice or things like that? But I I thought I'd try it as an experiment, see if it worked. And I was also thinking, you know what, I've been in this field for many years now. I've seen like many projects, work with complex interfaces. So I'm sure at least if I target people who are starting out or juniors, I can still help them with
Yeah.
their journey, because I was there and I've made mistakes in the past from which I learned a lot, so I can help them avoid them. And so I decided to ignore my imposter syndrome and just start. And I tried a few platforms, but I think Mentor Cruise really was the best for UX at least. But in general, I think for
Yeah.
professions, it's a great platform, because others were more like tutoring oriented, like for also like school. So it's
Yeah, it tends to happen. I also was in that, like, well, on the Spanish side, there were like a few ones, but only for, people learning maths and, secondary level. But there weren't any, I mean, there were some, but not the quality that I expected, that were providing high level, technical skills like cloud or UX, advanced programming, all these. I didn't found any as well.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. Same for the Italian landscape. And so I, after a few months of putting up my ad, also a tip for anyone who wants to start mentoring is to start with lower prices, and then you can you can increase them as you go. And so also with that, I got my first mentee, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a really positive experience. Already, like very nice girl I was working with. She was perfectly my target. So starting out, she's just done an online course in UX, so I could help her with her first projects. And from her, I got my first 5-star review as we were working. And so from that, it was a slow climb. And I've also tried to expand my services a little bit within the
Mm-hmm.
platform. I tried to start also recently a newsletter, and I also always share lots of materials with mentees, so that they have anything that they might need during the journey. And so it was a slow build up, and
Yeah.
it also helps that there's the mobile app, so I can also, like, if there's an emergency, let's say, I can check it and help the mentee. So
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. I recall when I like had my first mentee, and also the first review was like, okay, this is something. Especially the first mentee, I recall it with later happiness. It was okay. Now the imposter syndrome comes. Let's see what we can do. But it was fun as well, and I think it's so. Regarding that, I have another question. Like,
mhm.
do you think that it the mentorship part improved you yourself a lot in terms of both on the technical side and also on how you deal with people?
Interesting question. So from a technical point of view, in the sense of knowledge, skills, I think it absolutely helps consolidate what I already learned, or maybe seen in practice before. And also, this is something I learned when I did a course on the psychology of memory. Our professor used to say that you truly know a concept when you're able to explain it to somebody else.
Yeah,
And
Feynman stuff.
so it's a great test. Like either you find out that maybe you need to review something for yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to revise your knowledge. Or you're like, wait, I actually know this because I just explained it to the mentee. So it's in that case, it helps also with the imposter syndrome we mentioned earlier. And I would say for sure it helps with people skills. Like it helps you like being able to to communicate with strangers, especially maybe if like me, you're an introvert, and and also I had something else in my mind. Oh yes, also in general, I would say also explaining explaining the rationale behind design decision, because one thing that I find with UX that it's something that also many other designers say is that unfortunately lots of people have an opinion on your work because everyone is using interfaces. So like for example, when we were younger, there was a change on the Facebook app and everyone would go mad.
Yeah.
Being able also to explain to them like why maybe there's something wrong with their current prototype and help them improve it is again a way to test your design skills and also your communication skills.
Yeah, no, I totally agree that certain professions suffer from that. I don't know if it's like intrusion or everyone knows about my job, but no one has any idea really. To because opinions are free, so everyone can say, okay, this button is not right there. Yeah, I have studied X years for doing that, so please take my considerations and value them. So yeah, I don't suffer that, let's say, a lot, because I'm more in the backend side, deployment stuff, so no one really messes around. Okay, it works, it's fine. But I can relate that. I have a friend also that is a UX designer, and it's been, yeah, she told me the same. Like, I work for it's a common second hand selling platform, and also for selling houses. It's this type of marketplaces to you post your house with the price and all of that. So she mentioned that when they were doing this whole UI refactor for the website, which was very major because the UI was like this 2000s old school stuff, forum kind of stuff, to a UI was pretty great. And I told her when we were talking, I like it a lot. And I sold I sold a sofa on your platform, so it was fun. Like, it's awesome. So yes, on that part, what even though we are moving away from the mentoring, and I will get back to it later. On the in the UX part and on the UI part, which is, I know it can be sometimes tiring because you are getting feedback from both ends. I can recall from my experiences, like, users will go back to you and will tell you need to analyze how the user behaves and also how they want things. But also the developer, maybe front-end developer or back-end developer, depends on the flows, that is also on the other side saying to you, why this flow? Like, this flow is making me, 2 tables more, or one call that is horrible to do. So what's the best part from your job in that side?
So you mean from
in general, like on both sides, like because you have like to deal with both. It can be. I can understand that it can be demanding. Dealing with both sides. But what's the part that you like the most on your job?
Right. So there's lots of things I like about the job. I would say the first thing is nice to see when something you designed gets implemented, and also if it helps the users. For example, for the interface I'm currently working on at my job, we recently finished a round of interviews with our current users, and learning that how the interface is now, they're really happy with it. They use it almost every day. So we were like, oh, wow, you actually use it. So we were really like all within my team. And also we were showing them a concept for a new feature that we're working on. And again, seeing that it was clear to them that they would find it useful. It's really it has no price. It's absolutely rewarding. And also it's interesting to, at least the interface I'm working on, it's for small businesses. They're our primary target, and so you're in a Teams call with these people in a small Italian office. Maybe like they call someone else, and you have suddenly 5 people on the other side. So you have these like slices of life. It's really cool. And then from the point of view of the developers, it's really helpful to know how the interfaces are actually built, and all of the work that goes behind it. And it's also cool when you can brainstorm also together with the developers to find a solution, because it's important, like for us designers, not just to work on our own, but to really involve everyone in the process, of course, in the right way, but it helps to include everyone as you're building things.
Yeah, no, I totally recall that when you are doing and I feel like this also happens on the product side and maybe on this intermediate, also customer facing roles, the more than you are horizontally, like horizontally, the better you are going to, apart from the specialization that you have, the better that you are going to do your job. Because if you know, apart from how the user behave, how the front end more or less works, not that on a deeper level, but you have a sense of, okay, CSS requests, all of that, how it renders, at least a basic knowledge, not that you have to be an expert on, of course. It will help you translate better how from the top to the bottom, so it's easier for everyone. I don't know if you agree on that or not, but
yeah. Absolutely. Yes, because especially like us as designers, and I see it a lot in students and juniors as well. You start to shoot for the moon, you want to do everything, then you need to be brought down back to earth and do something that is actually feasible. So
I don't know if you saw the post that went very viral on LinkedIn. It was this hand picking the UI and pulling it apart. And it was like, okay, thanks to your front-end developer hating everyone and in the UI part, because it was like a crazy functionality. It was like anyone that has dealt with code knows that would destroy an application to work it out efficiently. It was pretty fun, actually. Okay. Yeah. So moving on, other topic. I focus this podcast especially for people aspiring to get a mentor, and also for people that are seniors or experienced that they want to start other topics, and maybe they deal with the mentorship part. So how do you, for the UX part and in general, how do you plan your mentoring with a new mentee. So like you get an inquiry and you get your first call. What do you do on your first call? And also, how do you tend to plan this mentorship?
Right. So already during the inquiry or when I get the application,
Mm-hmm.
the application isn't detailed enough the way it's set up in Metro Cruise. I also have some follow-up questions to try and get a sense of where the mentee is, their background, and also sometimes at this point they send me their either like latest prototype or portfolio, so I can see their work and get an idea of their level. Then from that, it's really cool in Mentor Cruise. They have this feature where you can create uh, basically a standard message.
Yeah.
So that the moment they accept the application and actually become mentees, they get this welcome message from you. So I already send them some like links that I send to everyone with like a collection of resources, and I encourage them to create the first appointment via the Calendly link, so that right away we can have our call within the trial, those 7 days. And if they don't reach out, I actively write to them so that set up this call. I prefer at this moment, since it's we still have to get to know each other, and it can be sometimes maybe that either it can happen that it's not really a fit, maybe in terms of personality, since it's a long-term mentorship, or like it happened to me once. I had a developer contact me and he was interested in moving to UX, but after this first call, we both realized that for him it wasn't the best fit at that moment. So he peacefully stopped during the trial. So it's I take this call just really to try and get to know each other, get more in depth on why they need the mentorship, where they're now, their goals. And so I don't look in depth at any of their work in this moment, since it's this first trial week. After that, I usually encourage them to set up another, like the first call that can be up to an hour, where we look at their portfolio in depth. So I take some time to really create an in-depth review of their work, also of their CV. I give a look, and I have now a standard template I use for the portfolio review. So I actually share it with them in a PDF format, and we go through it during the call. And also, it's a very popular software for UX designers. It's called Miro. It's a digital whiteboard. And so I create a board for each mentee, where I also put the review, and maybe like I put the screenshots of their portfolios, since it's the most common scenario that they want to review the portfolio. I put it there with some comments, and I keep this board for all of our mentorships, so I can share maybe some specific links with them, like some, for example, if we're working on a project and they're not sure what to do with research, I help them with some resources about research and interviewing users, for example. And especially when they're in the first phases of reviewing either their website or a project, I encourage them to work directly in Miro. So then we can use the board during calls, or I can also check it in an asynchronous way. And then I mostly let the mentees set the next calls on their own. But if they tend to disappear, of course, I nudge them, or like see maybe if there's something wrong. I also encourage them to use the chat if they need something like more quick feedback. And I would say that's more or less it. I don't know if you had more like
No. It's interesting because it's like, so since it's very different of what I do, I wanted to know, like, okay, for a UX part, someone that is interested in UX, how could someone mentor on the topic and which tools? Because I think it's very interesting what you mentioned about having the resources on the predefined message, even though you would then, of course, provide customized tools to them, and also relying on a tool like, for example, in your case, Miro, or in my case, for example, creating a GitHub project on that one and having everyone on a GitHub work so that they code there, and then everyone is following more or less the same, and I can quickly check by switching either a repo, in your case a board. You just have everyone there. It's handy.
Right. Well, yeah, and also I forgot, especially during the first call, I take notes. I have my own Notion board with all of my mentees.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
do too.
I take notes, especially at the beginning, so I can go back to them if I need to. It's always a nice save to have that, especially when you start to have more mentees at once.
Yeah.
And also during the calls, I depending on their needs, I can suggest them maybe to dedicate a call, sorry, to a specific topic, or help them set some realistic goals. Because sometimes it can feel overwhelming, finding a first job as a designer in this economy. Like, it's good to maybe start break
Yeah.
the work in some steps.
Yeah, I can feel that. I sometimes, and for other mentors, it's like you need to have all the information that you can. The most information you can, the better, so you can help them um, the best. I think with all, I prefer to be over-informed than under-informed on the first call, because it will make you easier to point to the right direction. And then what you try to do is try to target it, because it's, if you let everyone do whatever they want, like more or less, okay, I will adapt, which is tends to be on the first mentees. You are very flexible, because you need this, or at least I feel that this acceptance. You will lose a lot of time that you won't provide that much. So if you have a targeted goal, it's better, because it will point out. And also on the meetings, it's like, before I didn't schedule recurrent meetings because I didn't like, okay, you will call whatever you want. But now with time, I have seen that recurrent meetings are working awesome, because because if you have, let's say, you will offer either 1, 2, or 4 calls a month, which means it's monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly. So if you schedule those, your calendar will be better.
Right.
Second, your mentee's calendar will be better, even because it will be better. You will know when, so you will have time to prepare, because you will know when they will have the meeting. And also, that's a very a tip that they have now, is that you can ask them beforehand. Which is great, because you will know when the meeting will be, so you can prepare. Because this way, not because you don't know the meeting, but it's with everything, if you can prepare a bit beforehand, so like you can address the questions, and okay, what's gonna be today. You say, can you please tell me the day before? And if you find people that tells you, it's like made your life so much easier, and you can provide so much value, because you can check their mural and say, okay, this is what I'm going to talk tomorrow, instead of, okay, let's go to Word and see what is going on.
Yeah.
So I feel
Actually, to review some work, having at least the 24 hours beforehand to check it out.
that's, I mean, for me, it's improving a lot, and I can encourage other people to do it. If you can record, so not being stuck on the recurrent meeting, but having a point towards you can move. So okay, tomorrow we can do it 1 hour later, or yeah, I have a job, a meeting call at work, so we can move it to other day. But it's easier to have something than to have nothing. I felt it a lot. Like it also makes people more constant, which I think turns out to be beneficial for the mentorship itself.
I agree with you. Great advice.
So yeah, I won't take much of your time. So what do you think you will be, advancing yourself in the next? I will ask you shortly, not in the HR way. In the next year, what do you have in mind to do? Both on the mentoring and on your personal projects and on your career, because I think you have a lot of things in probably in mind. So your next year.
Yes, I'm the kind of person that does too many things at once and then freaks
Yeah,
out.
me too. I'm guilty on that one. Yeah.
So I'm also always trying to better myself in terms of skills. So now my my first priorities was getting to learn more about AI and how to leverage it in my daily work. Sorry, my connection is not the best. So
It's all right.
so yeah, trying to learn best how to use AI as a designer, because there's this fear that AI is going to take our jobs. It's not, but we can be faster with AI, so it's good to learn how to leverage it in the best way. And also in my team, we do both UX and service design. I'm more the UX and interaction part, but I'm also learning a bit more about service design so that it can help me work better with my colleagues. And also it helps you to get a better 360 view of the product you're working on, because otherwise you always focus on the details of the interface, but then you miss out maybe the scope of the whole product. So it's good to integrate this knowledge. Then I've also been something I've been doing on the side is doing more public speaking. I was at an event here locally in Milan a few weeks ago, and I'm going to be speaking at my first conference in a few months. So I'm really excited, and I want to continue because I feel it actually goes hand in hand with mentoring, because either I get inspired from the mentoring on the topic, or it's again a way of consolidating your knowledge, learning how to explain things. So it's really great, and it's also good to challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone. And in terms of mentoring, I'm still figuring out how to scale it, because of course the calendar is what it is. I can't have too many people at once, but I've been working on a sort of deliverable, like a file that I can maybe try and sell, and that I would give to my mentees, so that they have extra resources that can be helpful in the most frequent cases. And I'd like to experiment with workshops, because I've noticed after doing this for a while that I often get people that are in a similar situation, and I tend to get very similar or the exact questions from different people. So I'd like to offer something that can help more people at once. So yes, I was thinking about either creating like a 1-hour workshop, or maybe an online course, though it takes time to create one. So I'm still brainstorming, and there's also a lot of competition in this field. So it's about finding the right topic, the right niche.
Yeah, but I also think there's a lot of demand from what I've seen. So I'm from my contacts, I've been contacting a lot of UX people, but I also see that there is a lot of demand because there are a lot of mentors performing very well on the UI UX part. So I think there's demand. There's also, then it's what you want to expand. So I know a tool, a website called Maven, like maven.com, which is similar to a compiler, a tool in Java, out of the scope, but it's the same name. which is provides you like a platform to share cohort courses, so like workshops. They name it cohort courses, but they see it like a workshop. So you can check it out if you want.
Sure.
I think it's very it looks great, and they don't have like a high fee, so yeah, I'll recommend it to you. So yeah, that's very interesting. I think you keep improving yourself, and also on the public speaking. I think it retroalimentates each other. Like you feel more comfortable by dealing with mentees, then you feel more comfortable giving a public speaking. I can relate to myself. Like before, I had a demo with a client and I was panicking, and now I can handle it.
Right. Absolutely.
It's still you have you're nervous, but you still are able to make it, and you're making it better because you are developing your skill even though you are not thinking about it. And also public speaking, it also makes social presence, meeting other people, and then you get better and mentoring, so you get better not better mentees, but higher level mentees, so maybe you are able to help another one that before you couldn't because you gained some experience there. So yeah, I think it retroalimentates. So yeah, it's I think it's an awesome plan for the year.
Thank you.
So and just to wrap up, let the audience know where they can find you and what they can follow you, where they can follow you. So yeah, Ron, is yours.
So of course, you can find me on Mentor Cruise.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know, just
Right.
free ad. No, just kidding. And I'm also trying to post a bit more on LinkedIn, so that would be the best place to find me online. And I have lots of links on my website. And I have this really cool service. It's kind of like link in bio, but it's like nicer. It's called bento.me/mentee Stella. So there you can find more links and resources too.
Okay, awesome. So thanks a lot, Maria, for coming to the podcast, and I hope you have liked the experience.
Yes, pleasure, really fun, and thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so until next time, and thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.